It's Friday, which means we are doing another segment of Dear Sarah. You guys have been sending in a ton of emails over to dearsarah@theblaze.com. So if you need advice, make sure you send it our way. But we're trying to get to all of them. So if you've sent it in, be patient because we're going through them, I promise. So here, today's Dear Sarah says, my wife and I want to move from the leftist crap show that is Washington State to Tennessee next year. I'm originally from Alabama, Roll Tide, and my wife is originally from Tennessee. We both came to Washington due to the military, me when I enlisted and she was a military brat. We have 2 young sons together, and I have a 14-year-old from my previous marriage, and custody is 1 week with his mom, 1 week with us, etc. Our only concern is that when we move, we know that our 14-year-old will have to split his time between the 2 states. This is the only reason we didn't move earlier. We are conservative and his mother and stepdad are very left. Our issue is whether or not we should raise our 2 young sons in an area where we want to live and can all grow and be around like-minded people, or stay here and wait until the 14-year-old is older. Also, the 14-year-old is slightly conservative, but the chances of him choosing to spend most of the year with us is very slim. Any advice would be very helpful. Sincerely, questioning movers. So it's a great question, and I completely understand and empathize with the dynamics of your blended family situation. Personally, I would not want a child being moved away from their mom. But it would be interesting to see the dynamics of your custody arrangement, because obviously the kid can't, like, they got to go to school in one place, right? So they would have to have roots somewhere. I would say you got to do what's best for your kid, and I think your kid needs their parents all in the same central location if possible, so that they can be loved and nurtured by both parents and have a stable environment. I totally understand wanting them to grow up conservative, but I do think that there's a way that you can do that. Even in Washington State, there's got to be a group near you. There have got to be like-minded individuals that are in your community that you guys can gravitate towards, that he can be exposed to, that he can spend time with, that you guys can still instill those conservative values in him without having to uproot his entire life. And then he spends, I guess, half the time with you and half the time with his mom, but I'm just still not sure how that would work. So I would personally say you got to do what's best for the kids. And I think the kids having a stable mom and dad as close as possible, I think, is the best thing for the kid. And then as he moves, as he grows up and turns 18, get the hell out of Washington State and move to Tennessee. Like, as quick on his 18th birthday, be like, all right, son, we're leaving. You know where you can find us. But that's just my personal opinion. Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a tough one, man.
Yeah,
I guess
it
would be, to me, at least personally, determined by obviously your court arrangement, and how that's going to get mixed up.
Yeah, I don't think you.
Yeah.
If you even do that. That's why I've never
seen
one that you could do that, but I don't presume to know what they worked out.
So whatever you got worked out, or what additionally would have to get worked out in the event that, let's say, you did that, I think is first and foremost. And also, you didn't speak, at least to my knowledge, I didn't in that letter any like ill will on the mother,
right?
Or anything of like speaking down and maybe on her duties and not being able to provide them.
Right.
So it'd be a lot easier to make a decision. It was like, oh well, she's an unhelpful piece of crap and doesn't do anything. And then it's like, all right, well, if you can make that arrangement, you make that arrangement. But you're in a difficult situation. For me, it would start with like, what does that even look like? What does that even look like? And if it looks like something unreasonable, where the court would say, well, the custody would have to stay lean more towards her way, because you guys, I guess the person was raised there in school, they're going to lean towards the mother maybe or whatever. And so in the event that you move, they'd have to be rooted there. Then at that point, it's not worth it. You might as well be around them to raise them. So you're in a difficult situation.
Well, that's why I know we got to go here in a second, but I'm not a fan of the 1 week on, 1 week off custody arrangements. I think that every kid needs like a stable. It just feels like a whole lot of tumultuous, like you're adjusting to getting at dad's, and then you got to go back and you're adjusting to getting back at mom's, and then you got to go. But it just seems like the kid is being like going back and forth a little bit too much. But I certainly can empathize with your position. And I mean, I'd want to get the hell out of Washington State too, so I get it. Obviously, it's your decision, not mine, but I will trust that you guys are qualified and loving parents, and you will make the best decision for your children and yourselves. We appreciate you sending in the question. Make sure that you guys get your advice, questions, dating, tips, whatever, over at dearsarah@theblaze.com. We will be right back.